Good evening and welcome to the Grand Prairie City Council meeting for Monday, February 4th. I'd ask everyone in attendance to rise and join us in singing O Canada. Thank you to the National Film Board for the images of our country and to our very own Grand Prairie Boys Choir for the audio. That'll take us to the adoption of previous council meeting minutes. Councillor Crokin.
Thanks, Mayor Given. I move the minutes of the City Council meeting held January 21st, 2013 be adopted.
Thanks very much, Councillor Crokin. Any discussion or debate on the minutes? Any errors or omissions? Seeing none, then I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. The adoption of the agenda, Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mayor Gibbon. I move council adopt the agenda as presented.
Thanks very much, Councillor McLean. Any discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. And this brings us to the delegation portion of our agenda. This is an opportunity for anybody in the community to come forward to speak to council on any community-related matter. I see a few people out there, but I believe they're either administration or media, and so it doesn't look like we're going to have anybody coming forward tonight. So, but I would remind the community that this is their opportunity, and we have this at every regular council meeting where the community can come forward and address council on any community-related matter, and it is a regular standing agenda item. Seeing that there's nobody going to come forward tonight, then we'll move on. We have no public hearings, and that takes us right into unfinished business item 7.1. Councillor Monroe.
Thanks very much, Mayor Given. I'll move that Council give third reading to bylaw C1139L, the City Aquaterra Utility Bylaw. And just to refresh everyone's memory, this is in regards to the rates that Aquaterra is proposing that we charge. We're going to see a 3.5% increase in our water rates and about a 7.5% increase in the wastewater rates. The difference is based on the capital investment that Aquaterra will be putting in to the tune of, I believe it was $48 million for the upgrades to the wastewater treatment plant. Anyways, I think that's probably enough of an introduction.
Thanks very much, Councillor Monroe. So the first two readings were at a previous council meeting minute. Open for discussion and debate on third reading. Councillor O'Toole.
Yes, Mayor Given. If we do not go ahead with this, where would we see the shortcomings come from? Would it hit the? Would we be forced to tax the city residents with an increase?
So the unanimous shareholders agreement for
Yes.
Aquaterra outlines that the member municipalities may, they receive advice from Aquaterra on what rates need to be in order to support the business plan that Aquaterra presents to the member municipalities, the city, the county, and the town of Sexsmith. If a municipality chooses to offer rates lower than what Aquaterra needs to be able to deliver on their business plan, then that municipality is required to make up the difference. So certainly we have that ability, but in order to fulfill the business plan put forward by Aquaterra, they certainly need a certain amount of revenue. We can either go with a user pay system or a blanket system where that difference will be collected through property taxes.
Thank you very much for your clarification.
Any other discussion or debate on third reading? Seeing none, then I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. So that takes us out of our unfinished business and on to item 8.1, land use bylaw amendment. I'd look for a motion for first reading. Councillor Wong.
Sorry, Mayor Given, I'm going to have to declare a conflict. My employer is representing the landowner.
Okay, thanks very much. So Councillor Wong declares a conflict, and we'll leave the council chambers. Councillor Rice.
I move first reading of bylaw C 1100189, which is a bylaw to amend the land use bylaw to allow a lot to be subdivided.
Okay, thanks very much, Councillor Rice. Any discussion or debate on first reading? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. That motion carries. And Councillor Rice, before you continue on with date, time, location, I'll just ask if administration can give us a brief overview.
Oh,
of.
sorry.
No, that's okay. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor Given. Bylaw C 1100-189 is a rezoning application for 9812 108th Avenue. The rezoning is from its current land use district of RR restricted residential to RSR restricted small lot residential. And this is entirely in line with the VLA Montrose Area Redevelopment Fund, which was approved a few years ago. So yes, recommendation is to give first reading and establish Monday, March 4th council meeting as the date, time, and location for public hearing purposes.
Thanks very much, Mr. Johnson. Thanks, Councillor Rice. I got a little out of order there. Councillor Rice.
Okay, I move that council establish Monday, March 4th, 2013 at 6:30 at City Council Chambers as the date, place, and location for this public hearing.
Great. Thanks very much, Councillor Rice. Any discussion or debate on date, time, and location? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. And I think we could call back Councillor Wong. Thank you. And that would take us to item 8.2. Maybe we'll do this the other way around. We'll ask for the administration introduction before first reading. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor Given. Administration's received an application to amend the Southwest Area Structure Plan. That will be bylaw C 1066-07. Amendment to the Stone Ridge Outline Plan, as well as a rezoning application, which is bylaw C 1100-187. The subject land is located south of 68th Avenue in the soon-to-be-developed Stone Ridge neighborhood. And the subject of the amendment application is to rezone a subject property from its current land use district of RM, medium density residential, to a commercial use. Administration's recommendation is that council give the bylaws first reading and establish March 4th for the public hearing. And in the interim, administration will carry out public notification.
Thanks very much, Mr. Johnson. So if we could have a motion for first reading. Councillor Wong.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I move the council give first reading to bylaw C 1066-07.
Thanks very much, Councillor Wong. Call for the vote on first reading. Thank you. That motion carries. Councillor Wong.
I also move the council give first reading to bylaw C 1100-187.
Thanks very much, Councillor Wong. Excuse me, sorry, we'll call for the vote on first reading. Thank you. That That motion carries. And date, time, and location, Councillor Wong.
Yes, finally, I'll move that council establish Monday, March 4th, 2013 at 6:30 PM in council chambers as the date, time, and location for public hearing purposes.
Thanks very much, Councillor Wong. Any discussion or debate on date, time, and location? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm looking for one more, Council. Thank you. And that motion carries. I believe that handles all of our reports and takes us into committee business. And the first one is Public Works Committee. And Councillor Radburn, I believe you handled that one.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I would move council receive the minutes of the Public Works Committee meeting held January 22nd, 2013.
Thanks very much, Councillor Radburn. Did anyone note any errors or omissions from that set of minutes? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. That motion carries. Councillor Radburn.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I would move council adopt the 100th Avenue functional study with one amendment to include a left lane slipway between 90th Street and 92nd Street. Just in speaking to this motion, Mayor Given, I guess Norm took us through the functional study or some of the highlights at the meeting. The Chamber of Commerce attended and requested that a left lane slipway be included in the study. The thinking there was that people coming in from the west could slip into that commercial development on the south side of 100th easier than having to go around, turn left at the intersection and head, I guess, south on 92nd and then in that way. So what I thought would be appropriate, Mayor Given, is that Norm is here, and given there was only three of us, well, I guess three of us voting members and another one at the meeting, in the interest of kind of giving information to all of us before this vote, I've asked Norm prior just to let us know why that left lane slipway was not included in the initial, I guess, recommendation in the study.
Okay, thanks very much, Councillor Radburn. So, Mr. Kyle, do you want to give us a review of that issue?
Thanks, Your Honor. Administration was aware of this request from the Chamber. We had the consultant look at it again as part of the overall study, and both the consultant and administration were not supportive of this left turn slip lane for several issues. One was the spacing between intersections and the proximity of this left turn lane between two intersections. It could also hinder our ability to upgrade the 92nd Street, 92nd Avenue intersection in the future to extend the left turn bay by adding a left slip lane. It also increased the amount of conflict points where vehicles could have collisions along the roadway. Further, it would turn, if I could show you here on a map, it would turn this the area in question is in here, and here's the cobblestone commercial development. So they were looking at a left slip lane in here, and what would happen if one was installed here, it would also turn this into a right out lane in order to be able to make the movement such that trucks could access it. There was also concerns because if vehicles and trucks did access it at the same time, it could block the roadway up and queue it because that's the back of the properties where they have all their deliveries. Also bearing in mind, when this roadway is upgraded to this standard, we're talking about a 90,000 population, which is just short of double, which actually would be almost triple our current traffic volumes today. And additionally, as lands extend to the east, this site isn't fully developed yet. Here it is on the air photo here. This south half of the site isn't fully developed. And there is an all-directional intersection planned in here with proper spacing between these two intersections that we anticipate may become signalized in the future. That will be addressed in the 92nd Street functional study coming to Public Works. As well, there's an all-directional access inside the neighborhood here. And as these lands to the east further develop, as they're not yet developed, this collector road network will extend all the way over to 84th Avenue or 84th Street in the future, which we anticipate most of the residents within those development areas would use the collector roads to get to it. And those outside the development area The extra distance would be offset by the improved safety of not having it there, but having them turn it at potentially 2 signalized intersections to access the development. In the short term, it may be an acceptable solution, but we believe when traffic gets to triple today's current volumes, it will become a safety issue.
Okay, thanks very much, Mr. Kyle. I don't know if there were any questions for Mr. Kyle? If not, then we'll go for discussion and debate on the motion. Seeing none, and I can see a few people still thinking it over, I will be voting against the motion. As written, I have seen, council has seen recently firsthand the difficulty in taking away accesses, even long after they've failed. When we look at 124th near the Keddies intersection, we know that we have accesses that really shouldn't be there anymore, but it's very, very difficult to take them away, even though they're probably particularly unsafe. I believe that we need to make the right decision for the long term by not putting an access in there. In the past, I've supported one example somewhat similar to this, and then no frills on 84th. And I think that that was positive at the time, certainly encouraged development there. But recently I've started to see traffic already beginning to back up in that left bay that was added by council. And this is only 5 years after the decision. So I'm very, very leery about going that direction again. And so I just, I guess I would, that's where I stand on that issue. Any further discussion or debate on the motion? Councilor Monroe?
Thanks, Mayor Given. I think this is a tough situation, as you've already mentioned, Mayor Given. However, I think I will be supporting the motion. I feel that this is something that will make sense for right now, and as we do get busier, then we will have to look at changing it, and I can live with that, changing it at a later time. Thank you.
Councilor McLean?
Thank you, Mayor Given. I will not be supporting it. I believe I'll listen to our engineers, and I sort of live in that area, and it's busy now. And I think that was an old map you had up there, because there's a lot of houses in the other quarter section going east, so there's already a lot more there than we were showing on the screen. Thank you.
Councilor Crokin?
Thanks, Mayor Given. You know, we got to be careful about sterilizing somebody's property who has an awful lot of money invested, and people want access to it. And I do feel that not allowing that left lane slipway is going to preclude an awful lot of people getting into the cobblestone. So I do feel that what Norm had said about later down the road about having the signal lights, I think there will be some on 84th or across from the development that's heading that way. So I do really appreciate the no frills. I like that. That one was a little wee bit different because Canfor are also crossing there, so it's a little bit of a difference there. But I would be supporting this left lane slipway between 90 and 92.
Okay, Councilor Wong? Not sure if you're live there.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Given. I'm also going to be supporting the left lane slipway. I believe that when we have commercial establishments, we need to make sure that traffic can get in, and always forcing them to the next intersection isn't always a good move, because I know that that intersection on 92nd Street is already really busy. A lot of people trying to turn left, and eventually when you force more and more traffic through, that's where you end up with the expensive bottleneck instead of the cheap little solution of just having a slipway.
Okay, any further discussion or debate on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. So we'll move on to 9.1.2. Councilor Radbourne?
Thank you, Mayor Given. I would move council approve the purchase of 3 Ford Econoline 450 12-passenger buses in 2013 with 25% funding from DTS and 75% funding, approximately $157,440 from the Basic Transportation Grant. So these are replacing units that are 10 to 15 years old. The new units will make our DTS service more efficient, will minimize maintenance costs, and given that there have been a 13.8% increase in the number of trips and 12.5% increase in the number of passengers in the past year, this will help us increase our capacity to deal with that increase. Also, it's a great partnership. The money is coming from a grant from the city, and DTS is supporting it too for a quarter too. So I think it's a great partnership, and I would urge council to support the motion.
Thanks very much, Councillor Radbourne. Any discussion or debate on the motion? Councillor O'Toole.
Yes, thank you very much, Mayor Given. I'll be supporting this. I know for a fact that the vehicles that the DTS have are in good mechanical shape and all that, but the ride is substandard, you might say, to today's standards. And with these new vehicles, the ride will be a lot more appealing to the users of the system. So, looking forward to seeing these on the road. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor O'Toole. Councillor Crowe.
Thanks, Mayor Given. It's more than likely a little late on these, Councillor Radbourne, but had we looked at the liquid propane gas models or some kind of greener power?
Don't know, we'd have to ask admin that in terms of, yeah, we didn't ask that question, Councillor Cocan, at the meeting. Don't know if anybody here can answer that or not.
Yeah, I think administration, not certain that we have any of those vehicles in the system now in fleet, and so we probably tend to standardize somewhat on a certain engine system. So
Okay,
that-
I just
that
think
would
at
be one
some
reason.
point, we're gonna have to go to LPG, I do believe, anyway. And, because we don't need any high-speed circuit drivers with those, they should be only going 50. Thank you.
Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mayor Given. Yeah, I'm looking forward to them. I was lucky enough to be at the tender opening. I think there was 3 bids on it for the RFP. As Councillor Radbourne said, that the other ones are 10, 12 years older. I don't know if these lines are a little bigger than the older ones. I think it's 10 or 12 passengers they can fit, so I'm not sure how
12
many.
plus 3 wheelchairs.
So they're a little bigger, aren't they? So it's good.
Thanks, Councillor McLean. You're actually kind of right on there. The significant difference with these is that they have more fixed seats for ambulatory passengers. Rather, the previous buses had very limited seating for people who would walk onto the bus. And one of the challenges with DTS is they look to try and increase their efficiency is to find ways to travel more of their clients who are actually walking on the bus these days, whether they're seniors or some of the folks with other handicaps that aren't using wheelchairs. So these ones are actually meant to fit that niche. So, any further discussion or debate on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. That motion carries. Anything else to highlight from that set of minutes, Councillor?
Thank you, Mayor Given. Just two other highlights to share. One, we did receive the Community Knowledge Campus parking and traffic analysis, and also spoke to pedestrian connectivity. So we received that report, very extensive, numerous recommendations. So we received that report for information and asked admin to develop an implementation plan and bring back to committee in a future date. So we've accepted the report. Now there's numerous recommendations, and we're asking administration to bring forth their recommendations relative to which ones we should pursue and in what time frame. Thank you.
Councillor Rice, did you have a question for Councillor Radbourne?
I do. It's perhaps not a question. It's I want to pass on congratulations to the department. They're busy cleaning up over 400 piles of snow, as I understand it. And I think it's absolutely phenomenal that to the end of January, they had hauled 15,000 loads of snow to the snow dump. That's to the snow dump sites. It's an absolutely phenomenal amount of snow.
Yeah, thank you. One more comment to make, Mayor Given. We also, a couple of councillors at the meeting brought up the road condition of 124th Avenue west of 100th Street, and so we've asked admin to bring a update report with respect to what's being done to maintain that roadway until we can get the project finished in the spring. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Radbourne. So that'll take us to the Take Part, Take Pride 9.2. Councillor Monroe, this is one that we don't always see here.
Thanks, Mayor Given. I'll move that council receive the minutes of the Take Pride committee meeting held January 22nd, 2013.
Thanks very much, Councilor Monroe. Any discussion or debate on that set of minutes? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. Typically, these minutes are received at the Environment Committee meeting, so I think this one maybe just made its way through to a council agenda, so a little bit of additional reading. I'm sure everybody appreciated that. We'll move on to 9.3, the Community Development Committee. Councillor Crokin. Oh, sorry, Councillor Radburn.
Thank you, Mayor Given. Just a quick note, just appreciated the strong attendance. I've noticed in the past, it seems like we have very engaged public members at this time, which I think is awesome. And that's also reflected by the number of volunteers for this ad hoc working committee to look at the working group, to look at the biannual community tour. So good to see an engaged committee working hard. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Radburn. Councillor Crokin, 9.3.
Thanks, Mayor Given. I move council receive the minutes of the Community Development Committee meeting held January 22nd, 2013.
Thanks, Councillor Crokin. Any errors or omissions on that set of minutes? Any notes? Seeing nothing, I'll call for the vote. And that motion carries. Councillor Crokin.
Thanks, Mayor Given. I move council direct Mayor Given to provide a letter of support to the Rotary Clubs of Grand Prairie in support of the 2015 Special Olympics game in Alberta, obviously to be held in Grand Prairie. And just to speak to that, it was Frank Duskavich and members from the other Rotary clubs were here at the community development meeting and just asking for our support. There was no monetary ask, and we're just in the process then of getting things started. So we're really happy to see them highlighting Grand Prairie and put in a successful bid.
They were at the county today.
Thanks very much, Councillor Crokin. Any discussion or debate on the motion? Seeing none, I'll see if I can call for the vote here. Just got a little bit of an issue. There we go. I'll call for the vote. There we go. Thank you. And that motion carries. Sorry about that, Council. Councillor Crokin, do you want to carry on?
Sure, I'll carry on when I get the mic on. I move council approve the reallocation of funds for Phase 1 of $1,341,175, and for Phase 2, $1,611,496, and for Phase 3, $1,585, totaling $3,953,256 for renovations to the Leisure Center beginning in 2003. Just to speak briefly to that.
13 maybe.
20.
We didn't start it 10
2013.
years ago.
Oh, okay. Well, that'd be perfect. It's 2013. That'd be this year then. That's it's actually a good news motion, and I hope everybody will support that. Of course, it's putting a couple of the capital projects together and starting them as one. We had a terrific saving of about $1 million because the stainless steel tank is still salvageable, so we didn't have to replace that. So this will get our leisure center up and running again and in use.
Thanks very much, Councillor Crokin. Discussion and debate. I see Councillor Monroe.
Thanks, Mayor Given. Just maybe refresh my memory. Do we know when they plan on having it open for public use?
Thanks, Councilor Monroe. I'll maybe defer that to community living. The date,
Your Worship, if this project proceeds in this particular format, it wouldn't open until later in 2014, allowing us to do significant renovations to the aquatics and the mechanical systems within the building in that the next year.
Thank you. Okay. Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mayor Given. At the committee meeting as well, they were talking about, and I can remember using the pool and they changed the salt and it was great, but they know there's a lot of corrosion and everything, so the structural report plan was awesome to have, and I'm looking forward to that it's all brought together and not open and closing, it'll all be done, so when they open, it's ready to go. And maybe I'll send it to Gary. There's also some operational money in the budget, so if there's any problems or hiccups, there's a chance to maybe, so this doesn't go in debt or anything like that, that could be used from operational money. Is that true?
Mr. Rock?
Your worship, certainly there is operational funds that were budgeted for 2013 for opening as a swimming pool. And since that would not be happening if this project goes ahead because it'd be under renovations, that's something administration could look at requesting.
That'd be very good. Thank you.
Councillor Radburn?
Thank you, McGivern. Just a comment as well on this. Really, it was a good news story from my perspective. We had, Council will recall, we had 2 million this year and 2 million next year for this project. So this reallocation is moving that 2 million next year to this year so we can get the project done. And as Councillor McLean has said, there might be some flexibility if we need a little bit more. The other part of the what happened at the committee was that admin was directed to bring back a functional plan for this facility to look at the different components of the facility and what kinds of programs we want to offer there. So that will be forthcoming as well, I think, is coupled with these reallocation of monies. I think will have solid direction in terms of what we want that facility to be. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Radburn. Councillor Wong?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Given. I'm highly supportive of this motion. I'm really happy to see that the leisure center is going to be reopened as an aquatic center in the north side of town. I am also really happy to see that the total is going to come in right around the budgeted figure as opposed to the $5.8 million, which was originally estimated to get that facility functioning properly. So I'm going to be supporting this motion. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Councillor Wong. Remember, we're just reallocating funds. We're not actually tendering anything here. Councillor O'Toole?
Thank you very much, Mayor Given. I'm really looking forward to this taking place. It'll open up another venue, or reopen the venue on the north side of town. And it's still a pool, but it has different, different how would you put it? There's different uses than the major pool that we have on the south side of town. So, thank you very much.
Thanks, Councillor O'Toole. Any further discussion or debate on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. That motion carries. Councillor Crokin.
Thanks, Mayor Given. And this, again, just to remind the councillors of reallocation. Council approved the reallocation of approximately $344,300 in capital funds from the ventilation controls, sound system upgrade, and purchase of new stage to truss upgrades in the Canada Games Arena. And just touching on that briefly, we have had a couple of shows bypass our venue because of the strength of our trusses not being able to hold their sound equipment. And so we had to turn away groups like the Jacksons and the Canadian Tenors, to name a couple, that now we'll be able to host larger groups.
Potentially, Councillor Crokin was taking some liberties with the types of acts that we missed out on.
Potentially.
Not sure that we were in the running for the Jacksons, but but certainly it is true that the acts today are traveling with heavier equipment and larger sound systems, more lighting than they used to in the past. So certainly a good response to that issue. Any further discussion or debate on the motion? Jackson 5 notwithstanding. Call for the vote.
I knew you'd like them.
That motion carries. Councillor Crokin, was there anything else that actually happened at the committee that you wanted to highlight?
No, I think those were the three items that were on the community development. So we have discussed them and passed them all. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Councillor Crokin. Councillor McLean, Pursuit of Excellence Committee.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I move council receive the minutes of the Pursuit of Excellence meeting held January 29, 2013.
Thanks very much, Councillor McLean. Did anyone note any errors or omissions in that set of minutes? Seeing nothing, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. That motion carries. Councillor McLean, do you want to highlight anything from that set of minutes?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mayor Given. Just a couple of them. There was a couple monies given out for travel and stuff. Catherine Stone, athlete travel, $2,000. Sounds like a big number, but she's an athlete that's competing internationally. And this is for International Biathlon Union Cup races in Estonia and Russia in January. And we wish her all the best. She's training. She's up ranked in top 30 or 40 right now. She's just getting into it. So as you noticed in that one, that they get a few years older before they're really excelling. So she's up there now. Trevor Prickshirт, football coach development as well. It was $543, I do believe. It could be $573. And another one was $1,000 for the Grand Prairie Minor Baseball Clinic hosting. And a couple more I'd like to say came from the meeting was one individual came was Bill Nash, and he was going to be coming to the next meeting for committee members, and that to speak about is the Schooner Master Swim Club. It's never been in Grand Prairie because we never had a 50-meter pool before. And they're talking it could be anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 people attending. And I think age groups are 22 to 75 or something. So some people can suit up here. And all of us maybe. So anyways, and there was some news about travel funding as well. Is it they're going to be bringing forward to the next committee meeting? Is it, you know, kind of underfunded? They're saying $200 in Alberta and $250 to go down east. So they're going to be looking at that and bring it back to committee. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor McLean. Councillor Radbourne, did you have a question for Councillor McLean?
Thank you, Mayor Given. No, just a comment, Mayor Given. Just pleased to note the support for coaching development and for clinic hosting. I think that sometimes this helps get the word out that the funds are available for those endeavors, and I think they're important to continue our growth in our community programming. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Radbourne. So actually, Councillor Radbourne, I think you could leave your microphone on as we go on to 9.5 in the General Government Services.
There we go. Thank you. I move council receive the minutes of the General Government Service Committee meeting held January 29th, 2013.
Thanks very much, Councillor Radbourne. Did anyone note any I's out of place, any dots in the wrong spot? Seeing nothing, then I'll call for the vote. Thank you, and that motion carries. Councillor Radbourne?
Thank you. I would move council approve the change to a 4-year business planning cycle beginning January 1st, 2015. So we've, as Ken has reminded us at committee, we have gone from a 2-year business planning cycle now to we actually start with 1 and then 2, and last couple terms we've been 3 years. 2 years of, I guess, of one council's term, and then the first year of another council's term, so that we have some continuity and gives a year for the new council to, I guess, become informed and get to know the lay of the land, so to speak. Now, as council is well aware, we're moving to 4-year terms for councillors, and so it seemed logical that we would extend our business cycle to 4 years now. So it'd be kind of a 3 years and then 1 year as we move forward, starting in 2014. Makes certainly a good sense. Business cycle planning takes a lot of staff time and effort, and I think it minimizes that, yet allows us to do some long-term planning. For me, it was important that Ken had mentioned that we would ensure there was some contingency monies available in each of those years' long-term budgets, and I think that's important because we, given the length of the, I guess, the cycle and the budget, we need to be flexible enough to meet some urgent needs that may come up in the 4-year period. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Councillor Radbourne. Any discussion or debate on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. That motion carries. Councillor Radbourne?
Thank you. I would move council approve the strategic priorities chart for the term January to March 2013. Just a couple of changes, one in our council priorities and one in our, I guess, advocacy efforts. But I'm sure council has taken a look at the priorities chart. I think we looked at it at our planning session in Valley.
Thanks very much, Councillor Radbourne. Just of note, 2 projects in particular came out of Council's advocacy priorities as they were relatively complete. The Philip J. Curry Dinosaur Museum and I believe the Aquaterra Capital Funding also came off. So, any further discussion or debate on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. That motion carries. Councillor Radbourne?
Thank you. And finally, I would move council give first reading to bylaw C962R to amend the procedure bylaw. So the essence of these, the changes to the bylaw really is to reflect, to align our committee structure, council standing committee structure, to our department, to our present departments, given the reorganization of our administrative departments. So we are going from Public Works, Community Development, Protective Services, and General Government Services to Community Growth, Community Living, Community Safety, and Corporate Services. Again, I think this makes sense. We were finding that at standing committee meetings, we would have multiple leadership team directors at the meetings, and this would streamline it so that to make best use of administration's time. Also in this it does reflect that we have eliminated the Environment Committee. We're thinking that that work can be included in, Audrey, help me, or Greg, into which community growth. Thank you. So really that is the essence of these amendments to bylaw C962R.
Thanks very much, Councillor Radbourne. So I'll call for the vote on first reading. Thank you. That motion carries. Councillor Radbourne?
Thank you. I'd move council give second reading to bylaw C962R to amend the procedure bylaw.
Thanks very much, Councillor Radbourne. Any discussion or debate on second reading of the proposed bylaw amendment? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm looking for one more, Council. Some of these didn't stick there. Thank you. And that motion carries. Councillor Radbourne?
Thank you. I would move council have third reading of bylaw C962R to amend the procedure bylaw.
Thanks very much, Councillor Radbourne. So the motion to have third reading here tonight must be passed unanimously, of course. Any discussion or debate on the merits of having third reading tonight? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. That motion carries. Councillor Radbourne?
And therefore, I would move council give third reading to bylaw C962R to amend the procedure bylaw.
Thanks, Councillor Radbourne. Any discussion or debate on third reading? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. And that carries.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I move council approve the schedule for standing committee meetings from March to October 2013. So this is just a reflection of the changes we made to the procedure bylaw and now tying the committee schedule to the new names and the elimination of the Environment Committee meetings.
Thanks very much, Councillor Radbourne. Any discussion or debate on the committee meeting schedule? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Okay, that motion carries. Councillor Radbourne?
Thank you. And finally, I would move council approve the appointment of council members to standing committees from March to October 2013. So these, I guess, names of the committee members are noted and must be, I guess, you must approve them as well.
The only sort of note there is that there are now two committees where the mayor is not on as ex officio. In the past, that was strictly the Public Works Committee where the mayor was named as a by name rather than as an ex officio member. The two functions that happens are now under two different committees. So the mayor is on by personal name on two different committees rather than ex officio mayor. So there's a slight difference there. Everybody was looking through the details. Any discussion or debate on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. Thank you. And that motion carries. Councillor Radbourne, anything else from that?
Yeah,
General
just a
Government
couple of
Services?
quick updates. One is that we've asked admin to provide a report regarding options for development of a long-term capital plan and bring back to a future meeting. So now that we have, I guess, the business cycle worked through, now we've kind of asked for, let's maybe have a longer capital planning time frame as well. And so they're going to bring back a recommendation in that regard. And secondly, based upon a presentation by Mr. Cameron from Karen on the Boulevard project, we've asked admin to review the potential for creating a property tax deferral program for affordable housing projects during construction and bring that report back to committee at a future date. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Councillor Radbourne. We would move on then from our community business. We had no items of correspondence, no delegations, no notices of motion, and we'll go right into council member reports. Councillor Rice, I believe you had AUMA business to update us on.
I did. Sure everyone is familiar that the Regulated Rate Review Committee has tabled their report with the provincial government. 41 recommendations, 33 of which have been accepted in principle. The government has announced they will be keeping the regulated rate option for now. You notice they said for now, and the regulated rate option was put in place to help control electrical market volatility. So about 2/3 of Albertans are still on the regulated rate option 12 years after the start of retail deregulation. And again, they've decided, they said that one of the recommendations is they want to get rid of the term regulated rate and call it the default rate. So this is the rate that power electrical companies must charge you if electricity rises above a certain amount. So the government will be keeping that for now in the hopes of controlling some of the volatility of the market. Today I attended at the County of Grand Prairie on behalf of the Alberta Recycling Management Association, which is tires, paint, and electronics recycling, and presented the County of Grand Prairie and the West Grand Prairie County Regional Landfill checks. The county received $30,000 for completing the resurfacing of the tire bays at the Claremont Center for Recycling and Waste Management, and the West Grand Prairie County Regional Landfill received $26,692 for completion of the modification of a ramp at the regional landfill that provides access to the tire recollection area. The ARMA is a not-for-profit organization, and it reports to the Minister of Environment and Sustainable Resource Development, and the funding for ARMA is paid on the sale of new tires in Alberta. And to date, 72 million tires have been recycled through Alberta's tire recycling program. Some of you may be too young to remember, but some of us will remember a horrendous tire fire in Ontario about 20 years ago, and the billowing black smoke that hung for days, and they couldn't put the tire out. And just shortly after that, the Alberta government decided it needed to come up with a program to recycle tires. And so one of ARMA's first initiatives was to fund Northern Care. They removed close to 1 million tires out of northern Alberta landfills at no cost to the municipality. So working with ARMA, we keep the tires out of the landfill, which seriously reduces fire hazards. So that's it.
Thanks very much, Councillor Rice. Potentially a question for Councillor Rice. Councillor McLean?
Thank you, Mayor Gibbon. Councillor Rice, I just had a question on the deregulation of electrical rates.
Yes.
Since I know you're at AUMA and quite involved there. I know we're the only province in Canada that has this deregulated electrical rates. Does AUMA keep statistics of the other provinces and talk to the other provinces, groups that, because I believe we're the highest in the country now. When it was first brought in, we were one of the lowest. Do we have anywhere we can find that out and have a look at that and see maybe this new area the government's talking about is just not naming certain definitions, but actually maybe keeping rates going the other way and competing with other provinces? Do we have any way of looking at that through AUMA?
I'm not sure through AUMA. I represent AUMA on the Utility Consumer Advocacy Board, and I will get the information from them for you. I'm going to a meeting Monday. I will get that where you can find that out.
Thank you, Hal.
Thanks, Councillor Rice. Councillor McLean. We move on to Grand Spirit Foundation. Councillor Radbourne.
Thank you, Mayor Given. Just reporting quickly on the Management Committee meeting of January 25th, 2013. 4 or 5 items. We're still working on seeking LAP grant funding for 8 units in the Wild Rose Villas addition. The financial audit is happening this week, actually, a week of February 4th. Continuing Care Safety Association is developing a safety leadership program, and Grand Spirit Foundation has been asked to take part in this project, which includes a DVD. And so some of our staff were on this DVD, and so they're quite excited about being involved in that project. We confirmed, approved the Lodge program capital budget for this year, and we went over and approved the goals for 2013 for Grand Spirit. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Radbourne. Councillor Radbourne, just on Grand Spirit, if I can, could you extend my thanks to Debbie Norrington? I had a chance to request some information from her. You've probably, I know you've seen these numbers about wait lists. I hadn't heard the most recent information, and she was able to get that over to me today, and I just, it was astounding to me about the, for family housing, and so I'll just share that actually with council.
Good.
Debbie was able to inform me that Grand Spirit has 622 households on their wait list for housing, which represents just over 1,500 people, and 518 of those 622 households are single-parent family households. So 518 single-parent family households on our waiting list for family accommodation with Grand Spirit. So, Councillor Radbourne, if you can pass on my thanks for Debbie responding so quickly to present that information, and it was very eye-opening. Councillor Radbourne?
I think the
Sorry, excuse
the
me.
Lodge waiting list is in the 150-ish each too, so yeah, there are waiting lists in a number of the areas of where Grand Spirit helps us. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on to Mighty Peace Watershed Alliance. Councillor Wong.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Given. On January 18th, the board had a meeting in Fairview. One of the things that I found really interesting was we received a presentation from the ERCB, the Energy Resources Conservation Board, on hydraulic fracturing. So just to give you just an overview, hydraulic fracturing, it's a non-conventional means of extracting oil and gas from the earth. Basically, you inject a fluid down into the earth, and you do that at high pressure, enough high pressure that it's going to fracture the rock that's capping the oil or gas deposit. Then they prop that crack open and pump in a fluid to help move whatever oil and gas fluid you're trying to get out of it. Since the 1950s, there's been over 171,000 wells fractured. So it is a non-conventional means of extraction, but 171,000 wells is certainly a large number. It's a fairly controversial topic. On the one hand, it's a small footprint that you're disturbing, but there is environmental concerns about it, possibly if there's an accident getting into other water sources. Anyway, the ERCB acts as a regulatory body, and they ensure that there are several regulations and directives that must be met for safety reasons. On their website, you can also view all the applications for resource extraction and the decisions that come out of those applications. The other thing I just wanted to point out was, a couple things. They are looking for feedback on the new unconventional regulatory framework that the government is putting out. You can get to that from their website at ercb.ca. So people in the public or in industry who want to provide feedback on this can do so, and you can do it anonymously or you can name yourself. The other thing that I wanted to point out is we're going to have our AGM sometime in March, and we hope to have this presentation again at our AGM so that people who want some more information on hydraulic fracturing can easily get to it.
Okay. Thanks very much for the information, Councillor Wong. Councillor O'Toole, Philip J. Curry, Dinosaur Museum.
Thank you very much, Mayor Given. First of all, I'd like to just comment that on January 15th, there was an expression of interest for the process to shortlist companies interested in developing, designing, and fabricating and installing museum displays. This process finished on January 29th, and soon we'll invite a number of respondents to participate in a request for proposal process to select their preferred contractor. On February 1st, the tendering documents associated with construction of the museum facility will be released to the public, and this will offer businesses the opportunity to bid on a multitude of services required to complete the museum facility. We sat down as a group on the building committee to discuss a number of items with the building contractor, as well as the architects, and finalize some drawings and stuff like that, and structure on the basement and that. So that's where that sits right now. So that's my report on that. I do have one other report, if I could.
Sure.
With the Northwest Corridor. I was going to do it through Roundtable, but now would be probably the best time.
Sure, I think that's on our list.
Yeah. Last Monday and Tuesday, I was in Yellowknife with the Northwest Corridor Development Corporation. We had a meeting there to discuss a number of things. Some of the speakers were there, were the senior planner for the Northwest Territories. City of Yellowknife had some transportation issues and opportunities and concerns. We had the Plains to Port president, Michael Reeves. He's based out of Lubbock, Texas. And believe it or not, they're very interested in Grand Prairie area. So it's one of the reasons why we belong to this Northwest Corridor. People and companies as far away as Texas are wanting to access our roadways and pipelines and that kind of stuff. We had the EDO from Saddle Hills County do a little report on the processes that they're going through and the hurdles that they're jumping through. We had a company called G7 Generations. This is a company that is in the proposal stages of building a railroad from Fort McMurray through Alberta, corner of BC, up into the Northwest Territories, the Yukon, and eventually stopping at Valdez, Alaska. This is still in the proposal stages and hasn't even got government approval yet, but they are looking quite seriously of going through this and hauling the bitumen out of the country that way. We had a gentleman from Rainbow Lake, Bill Kostick. He and a group of people are looking at maybe building a permanent road between Rainbow Lake and Fort Nelson. The issue is not on the Alberta side, it's the BC side. That might be a controversial thing for a number of years, but it would sure benefit the citizens of Alberta, especially the northern part. We had a gentleman from the Rupert Brake Bulk. It's kind of like a container depot, but not necessarily containers. These are oversized items like huge projects that are partially built, maybe going to gas plants or other areas that they have oversized product, and they can't load them or unload them in a conventional manner. So basically it would be a dock out in the middle of the ocean with a bridge going to it so they can access from both sides. And that was about it. That took up 2 days, sir.
Thanks very much, Councillor O'Toole. Question, Councillor McLean?
Thank you, Mayor Given. To Councillor O'Toole, just a question. Have you received the 10 million funding yet from the government of Alberta? Because there's been questions about the budget coming up and everything. So do you have that in the bank account now?
For the
10 million that they allocated
You
recently.
mean for the dinosaur?
Dinosaur Phil Curry, yeah.
Councillor O'Toole?
that would be going through the county, and at this point in time, I'm not, we've been told we were getting it at $10 million. I do not know if it's been given to us yet.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks very much. Okay, Councillor Wong, I believe you have Wapiti Corridor Planning Group.
Yes, the Wapiti Corridor is, Wapiti Corridor Planning Society is taking the multi-use plan that was drafted, and that was the one that was presented at committee. And we're incorporating feedback now from stakeholders and from our public open house. Some of the significant changes that we've made is we've reduced the boundary on the east end It used to go all the way to the old Byzantium town site, and now we've pulled it in a little bit further west. There was just a sparse population there, and there was a lot of different opinions in terms of how things should be organized, so we felt at this time it was best to just kind of chop it off and remove some of the grazing leases as well. That could be incorporated later into the plan, but we really want to get the plan submitted this year, so we felt it was easier to do this. We also removed the proposed southeast bypass from our maps. The proposed southeast bypass is the one that goes, it's that ring road around the south or the east side of Grand Prairie, and it was supposed to come out right around Evergreen Park. Our planners took their best guess in terms of where that was going to come out, and because that alignment hasn't been adopted by Alberta Transportation yet, we felt it was best to remove it because there was some controversy there. Finally, we removed an off-highway vehicle trail which was north of the Wapiti River from about from the bridge on Highway 40 all the way west to Pipestone Creek, and there was a lot of opposition to having quads going through that area. So we felt it was best to just remove that trail as well. This is just feedback that we've incorporated from what we heard in the public, and those amendments make sense to us. There is still a lot more fine tuning to do on the plan, but we're pretty sure we're going to get it done by this summer.
Thanks very much, Councillor Wong. And Councillor Wong, maybe if we could start Councilmember Roundtable. I think that was all of our reports, so if you wouldn't mind starting Roundtable there, and we'll go around to Councillor McLean in the back.
Sure. On January 22nd, I attended the Queen's Diamond Jubilee medal presentations at the Montrose Cultural Center. I want to congratulate all the medal winners, including two people at our table here, Councillor Helen Rice and Mayor Bill Given. Congratulations, you guys. January 23rd, I attended the Center 2000 board meeting. We got an update on the Muskogee Park future plans. It was pretty great. January 24th, council ride the bus day. A bunch of council members and the mayor got together. We rode the bus, rode one of the routes all the way to the Eastlink Center and all the way north by Ivy Lake and to the Prairie Mall, just to get an idea of how that trip feels. Nice to see our transit system utilized by a good portion of our population, and I think it was a positive experience. I still have a bunch of tickets to ride the bus, and I'm going to try to do that and get to work and back one of these days. Later that evening, or later that afternoon, we also attended the Bear Creek Funeral Home ribbon cutting, and I'd like to congratulate Doug and Eunice Friesen for the opening of their business. January 28th, the Mighty Peace Watershed Alliance held a conference call just to work out our budget for the coming year. Also at noon, I attended a Crystal Center meeting with the consultants, PricewaterhouseCoopers, along with CEI Architects, to give council feedback in terms of what we think the direction of the potential renovations, the way they should go. January 31st, finally, I attended the Neighborhood Association luncheon, and we had a couple of presentations from two neighborhood associations, one from Pinnacle Ridge and one from, the other presentation was from Mission Heights. I don't know if it was an actual neighborhood association yet, or they were just forming, but fantastic initiative, and I think that there's a lot more neighborhoods that are interested in this, and I think that just makes Grand Prairie a much better place to live. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Councillor Wong. Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mayor Gibbon. On January 22nd, I attended the Center 2000 Trail Extension Open House. And what I really love about this is not only about open area for more trails, is maybe a lot of the kids from Royal Oaks can go underneath the bridge and not cross the roadway where vehicles. And I think we all know I do think a few pedways should be in the city. And this way we can maybe avert that, and they can go on that trail system and go under the bridge. So I think it'd be great when they start in the spring. Also on 22nd, I attended the Queen's Diamond Jubilee medal presentation, and I was very honored to be there and see Bill, well not Bill on that one, but Helen Rice and Bill to get it, and as well Doug Eady and everybody else that was there. January, I think there was 50-some together, but it was quite a few. January 23rd, I attended Lifelong learning lunch at the Lions Center. Topic was on adults as learners, and found it very rewarding. I look forward to attending a few more. As well, I attended the Center 2000 board meeting, and it was a very good meeting about the repairs of the roof, eavesdrops, fascia, and different areas around the Center 2000. And a lot of questions I asked, well, Cedar Shakes, why are you replacing them in 12 years? And part of it is someone maybe that put the shakes on was wearing the wrong type of shoes. So I thought that was very interesting. Also attended the grand opening for Bear Creek Funeral Home with Doug and Eunice there, and I think it's great to have a competition in the city and have another area of the city that people can go to when something happens with the families. And I told them I don't wish to come back for about 30 or 40 years. On January 24th, I also attended open house in Mississippi Park for Arbor Hills 2 outline plan. So they're starting 2 before 1, so okay. Anyways, looks good. Some small lots there, so hopefully we'll see whatever it comes towards council. On January 28th, I was also involved in Family Literacy Day at St. George School, and I want to thank Councillor Helen Rice. She was actually on board before I clicked the button, and she backed out because my children attend that school in kindergarten, and it happened to be the whole week they were sick from school. But I still went and read to 2 kindergarten classes and 2 grade 3 classes. And I brought some pencils from the city that are made out of recyclables. And I think the grade 3s and 4s got some pencils. So I think they probably got a kick out of that. And I'm sure they'll use them. As well as January 31. On January 31, I attended Legion for the Grand Prairie Neighborhood Association kickoff. We're a couple that are already involved, but I think it's going to grow and there'll be quite a few more within a year. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Councillor McLean. Councillor Radbourne?
Thank you, Mayor Given. January 22nd, I also attend the Queen's Diamond Jubilee Medal presentation. So my personal thanks to MP Chris Workington and the city for partnering on that evening. It was very special to my dad, and so my sincere thank you. It was just great for him to see many people he knew and to be profile and be the center of attention again. 24th, the Grand Spirit Foundation Labor Management meeting and the council ride the bus day. And in the afternoon, I attended the Joint Regional Emergency Management Committee meeting. And just a note, Dan, I'm away. The next meeting is February 28th at 3 to 5 in the afternoon. And if you could attend as an alternate, I'd appreciate it. Crystal Center Economic Assessment Meeting, brainstorm session with consultants. I thought was very useful on the 28th. 30th evenings, 6 o'clock, we had Economic Development Advisory Committee meeting. We had an update from Brian Glavin, our EDO, and then we talked, we refined the subcommittee terms of reference that needs to come to Committee of Council for the development of a tourism strategy. We provided business visitation program input to Brian, and we provided input on the Grand Prairie Relocation Guide, which is our second edition, is coming out here in a few months. Neighborhood Associations luncheon, and then in the afternoon we had an annexation mediation city committee meeting. And on February 1st, I took the opportunity to speak with the Council Remuneration Committee on Friday afternoon. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Councillor Radbourne. Councillor O'Toole?
Thank you very much, Mayor Given. On the 22nd of January, I attended the Construction Committee meeting, which I talked about earlier for the Philip J. Curry Museum. After that, I attended the North Bear Creek Trail expansion that was open house at Center 2000. Between that, I had the DTS, Stable Transport Systems board meeting, and right after that, I attended the Diamond Jubilee Medal presentation ceremony, and a lot of people that from this community and area, well-deserved people, and it's just it was a real good evening for a lot of people. On the 24th, I attended the council ride of the bus, and we talked to a lot of individuals asked them some questions about how often they ride and this is a normal route for them. And it was very positive on a lot of people's, they were very happy with the stop locations and the routes. So it was really an eye-opener for us. The grand opening of the Office Lounge in the Pomeroy Hotel Conference Center, they had that later on in the afternoon. I attended that as well. And shortly after that, I attended the Bear Creek Funeral Home open house as well. And it was, like Mr. McLean said, I don't really want to go back there for a long time, but very good people that are operating that and known them for a lot of years. On Saturday, I attended the an event at the museum. Dr. David Leonard had a retirement party of somewhat. He's no longer officially working for the Alberta government, but it seems like everybody and their dog wants him to go work for them, still doing research on Grand Prairie and area. If you're not familiar with Dr. David Leonard, he's a person that's done a lot of research in this area, wrote a number of books, and I think he's going to have some input on Grand Prairie's 100th anniversary book. Later that night, I attended the Army-Navy Annual Awards night, and I gave greetings on behalf of the Mayor Given and Council, and they also give money back to some of the groups. I can just recall a couple of them. The Army Cadets and the Air Cadets are just a few, and so that was a good evening. Lots of long-term members got awards that night. On the 28th, I was in Yellowknife, as well as the 29th at the NCDC, Northwest Corridor Development Corporation. On the 30th, I went to Edmonton to get my passport. You don't normally have to do so, but I had lost mine. And I went to the downtown location, and I just want to pass on my sincere gratitude that the people there were very pleasant and did all the research and looked at my application, checked it off. I drove to Edmonton, walked in, 22 minutes later I was out, and my passport should be here next week. So on both sides, I really want to give kudos to the government officials that deserve that. On the 31st, I attended the Neighborhood Association luncheon. Very fine meal and good people and a good concept that Grand Prairie has been looking forward to. We're launching this. They got a new website now and Facebook, and everything's good. After that, I went to the Acropolis mixer that was held by the Chamber of Commerce, vice versa, I guess you might say. And didn't spend too much time there. I had lots of things on the go that night, but very well attended, very crowded in there. Don't want to let the fire marshal know how many people were in there because probably wouldn't be very happy, but it was good. Also on the 1st, I attended the Remuneration Review Board. I gave them some questions and also some answers. And on the 1st, in the evening, I attended the Grand Prairie Realtors President's Gala, and I listened to Councillor Crokin give an inspirational speech on behalf of Mayor Given and Council. And on the 2nd, I attended the Canadian Tire Chamber Ball with my wife and some other members of council here. Busy week, sir. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Councillor Toole. Councillor Monroe.
Thanks, Mayor Given. I think most of the events that I went to were already covered off, but I did want to say thanks to Jane Catta-Sharp for being the MC at the Diamond Jubilee presentations. I thought she did a fantastic job of keeping the program running, and it was great to see all of the recipients of the awards. The Chamber Ball as well, I wanted to acknowledge Janice Chomick, Cyril Gurovich, Mike O'Connor, and Gordon Carroll McLevin with Cardon Homes as the recipients of the awards given out over the course of this past year. And thanks to Sarah in the press gallery for hosting or for emceeing the event. So that was great. Also attended the Crystal Center Consultants or met with the Crystal Center consultants for lunch that one day as well. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, Councilor Monroe. Councilor Crokin?
Thanks, Mayor Given. On January 22nd, I attended also the open house for the Muskosipi Trails. And on the 22nd, a little later on, the Queen's Diamond Jubilee Medal presentation at Teresa Sargent Hall. Can't stress enough how really exciting it was to see approximately 52 community builders get their just desserts. That was very nice. There was even posthumous awards, like Perky McCullough was remembered, so it was very moving. Center on the 23rd, I was at a Center 2000 meeting, and then on the 24th, I also attended the city bus ride, and I'd like to thank our chaperone, Megan, for making sure council enjoyed it and stayed on the bus and
Didn't get lost?
and didn't get lost. Yeah, that was very good. Later on in the afternoon, I attended the grand opening of the office in the Pomeroy Hotel. Great job and great food, and there was colored water there too. It was very good. And on the February the 1st, my inspirational speech, thank you very much, Councillor O'Toole, I brought greetings to the 50-year gala of the Grand Prairie and Associates of Realtors on behalf of Mayor Given and Council. There was visitors here from area we call Alberta Real Estate Association. They were from Lloydminster, Calgary, and Edmonton. Got to be introduced to them, and they were very, very impressed with the growth of Grand Prairie. Some of them hadn't been here for like 12 to 15 years, and I told them, yeah, don't try and take anybody from here. They're all going to be coming here. So, and also then we danced to a group called the Top Tones. We just warmed them up for the Chamber Ball the next night, so we actually wore them out a little bit. So that's all I had, Mayor Given.
Thanks very much, Councilor Crokin. Councilor Rice?
Okay, I too attended the Queen's Diamond Jubilee medal presentation. I sincerely want to thank Council for your nomination. I was honored and touched by it, and I do appreciate it. And I would concur with Councillor Monroe's statement. Jane Cattasharp did an excellent job as the MC, and would like to thank Chris Workington and his office for doing a great job. I met with the Crystal Center consultant as well, attended the neighborhood association lunch. I grew up in a community where every neighborhood had what was then called a community league, and they each had a community hall, and the sense of belonging and being part of something was really important. So it's nice to see that that initiative is taking off in Grand Prairie, and the two people that spoke were obviously very committed to building community initiatives. I attended the Canadian Home Builders Awards of Excellence, and congratulations to all of the winners of that. A great job. Tyler and her staff did a great job. It's always an extremely nice event. I was particularly pleased that the City of Grand Prairie was nominated for a Service Excellence Award through the Development Department. So I think that was a fairly big honor. And congratulations to Mr. Wade Greentree, who is their new president. Today we had a 100th anniversary meeting. I want to welcome our new neighbors, Dolly Morrison. And now I'm sure I'm going to mess up her name, but Winona Lafreniere. And if I messed up her name, excellent new members, and they both dived in right away and said, here's what I want to do and here's what I want to. They will be working members. And so it was a little difficult last year to get people excited about the 100th anniversary. It's now, 1 year out, we'll be celebrating the city's 100th anniversary. So it was extremely, to me, just amazing. We sent out letters saying, there are some sponsorship opportunities. Are you interested? And I am really pleased with the responses we're getting back. So Mr. Olinger and I will be visiting all of them and saying, here's your options. What would you like to sponsor? So, but we still need the council's money. Don't get excited. And the homecoming is planned. The history book is well underway. The homecoming is planned for the August long weekend 2014. And Councillor O'Toole has some original and exciting ideas to fill up the 100 days of activity. So Grand Prairie Tourism has taken on the responsibility of souvenirs. So you'll be able to remember the event. So lots happening now, and you can look forward to some heavy excitement in the next few months going forward.
Great, thanks very much, Councillor Rice. Councillor Gustafson.
Thank you, Mayor Given. On January 15th, I had my quarterly meeting with City Manager Greg Sherbach, and shortly after that, I left town for a couple of weeks, so I have nothing else to report, other than it sure is good to be home. Grand Prairie is a great place to live. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Councillor Gustafson. On Tuesday the 22nd, I attended a Breakfast with the Boys planning session as we get ready to reinvigorate that event. Later that evening, I attended and had the honor of presenting Queen's Diamond Jubilee medals. It was a great honor to be able to do that, and great to participate with the MP's office and do a joint event, which I think provided the right amount of fanfare for those people that were being recognized. I'd also just like to say thanks very much to the City of Grand Prairie staff who did so much in organizing that. I know that Lois Harper and a number of other staff from over at the Montrose Cultural Center were very involved in preparations and organization, along with members of Chris Workington's staff. So I want to say thanks very much to them for all their efforts in doing that. On the 23rd, I had a meeting with prospective members of the Sport Council. Administration is working on getting that started, and we're working on trying to bring together members of the sport community. So I'm sure Council will be hearing about that in the future. On Tuesday the 24th, I participated in a webinar on potential technologies for citizen engagement and learned some interesting tools that may be available to us. I also attended the Council Ride the Bus Day, and it was a pleasure to ride the city transit system again. It has been a little while, but it was great to see the number of people actually were getting on and off the bus and how well it was used at what was really a non-peak time of the day. And later that day, I also attended the ribbon cutting for the Bear Creek Funeral Home. It was great to see that the Friesens have a new business model in really one of the oldest industries around, and it was a unique experience for me to cut a ribbon on a hearse. Monday the 28th, I was at Hillside School to take part in some celebration of Literacy Week, where I was able to read a First Nations legend. And later that day, I also participated in a discussion with the consultants that will be dealing with the Crystal Center economic assessment. On Thursday the 31st, of course, I was in attendance to take part in the launch of the Grand Prairie Neighborhood Association. I want to say thanks to all of the staff that have been involved in the development of neighborhood associations and safety teams up until this point. I think it was a great event to highlight the way that neighborhood safety teams and neighborhood associations will work together. The very brief version of it is that neighborhood associations will be an overarching umbrella for probably a larger area, where safety teams will be a little bit smaller within the neighborhoods. Neighborhood associations will be the ones that would have a formalized board and would have insurance and would be able to apply for money from the city. Safety teams would be underneath that and would be the ones that would identify and implement specific projects. So I think it's a really unique setup that will be flexible enough to address the needs of every community in Grand Prairie. And then on Saturday the 2nd, I also attended the Canadian Tire Chamber of Commerce President's Ball, and it was a pleasure to be there and celebrate with all the other participants, and it was great to see so many people that have given so much to our community recognized with the awards. Earlier today, I was at the Cairn on the Boulevard with MLA Everett McDonald as we toured MLA McDonald so that he was able to see firsthand where some of the province's affordable housing dollars were going in our community. And if there's nothing else with that, I'll call our meeting adjourned.